am doing this video to show how we make Tyvek face masks. This is Tyvek. It is a product made by DuPont, and this is actually made to wrap homes. It's a vapor moisture barrier. DuPont also uses Tyvek they have medical and biohazard applications for it. Think like a hazmat suit. So, but the reason I thought that maybe Tyvek would work was because it is a vapor moisture barrier, which is just what we want to prevent from spreading this virus around. So this is the first mask I made. Or one of the first masks I made. Like I said, it's a vapor moisture barrier. Tie on the top and tie behind. Later we added a metal nose piece, but I'll get to that later. But this is the magic right here, the Tyvek, because it doesn't absorb things. It is a barrier against things. Initially we were worried, some friends and I that are doing this, if it would be breathable enough for a nurse or a doctor to wear and be comfortable. But the ones who have worn it said, we're fine, don't worry about it. So we know that it works. All right, so Tyvek comes in 3-foot rolls, 3-foot long rolls, 9-foot long rolls. We're using a 3-foot roll. It's just easier to use in your kitchen. Hold on. So I just want to explain that because it's a vapor barrier, you do not want to pin into it. You don't want to poke holes. That compromises the integrity of the barrier. And none of our homes are sterile, but we do want it to be clean. So try to keep the Tyvek as clean as possible. So you can tell by these pencil marks, I'm cutting it into squares. When I cut it into squares, I try to put it in a plastic bag. After I fold it for the mask, I put it in a plastic bag. So let's just say our ideal dimension is 8 inches by 9 inches. This is a 3-foot roll, so we can get 4 9-inch lengths out of an 8-inch wide. Okay, so 8 inches wide, 9 inches long. That's how we mark and cut the Tyvek. It doesn't require any sewing scissors. You could probably do it with child safety scissors. It cuts real easy. Oh, one thing to explain. So there's 2 sides of Tyvek. One is slicker and one is softer. On the softer side, it's not super soft. You can see the fibers more clearly and that it's woven, and there's no printing on that side. On the outside, it's a little slicker and there's printing. So the outside needs to go outside on your face. We want this inner side, it's a little more breathable in here. We want this to be next to the face, okay? So I created this template just to mark so we will know how to fold the pleats in the mask, okay? So I have it scanned. I don't know if I can attach an attachment or not, but I'm gonna let him get a nice good screenshot of that. Spacing of the pleats is not critical. We played around with it for a while and this is what we came up with. And this makes it easier to mark the Tyvek. We chose this thing with just making marks so that we weren't running pencils all the way across. And then if someone makes a mistake, because we've got lots of ladies doing this, and marks this side, then at least we don't have pencil lines running all the way across on the clean side. We just have them on the edge. But try to keep the marks on this outside. Okay, so we've cut it, we've laid this on, and now we've made little marks to show where to fold. So now I'm going to show you how to fold it, how we fold this, and this is probably the hardest thing to explain by, this is why a picture's worth 1,000 words. So we're folding in towards the inner side, the soft side. We're going to make 2 folds on top, and you can see that I'm not lining things up perfectly, but that's just, like I said, it's not super critical. Want 2 folds on top, folding toward the inside of the Tyvek. And the reason we do that is because we've put, right at the end, we put a little metal nose bridge right here so that it can be pinched across the nose. So that's the purpose of those 2 things. Then we just fold like a paper fan when you were a kid, except they're not all even. You can see that we have a bigger space, a smaller space, a bigger space, a smaller space. So that's kind of how the folding goes. Trying to be fast. I know YouTube videos can get really boring, the do-it-yourself ones, but the folding is the trickiest part, I think. So if you'll notice, it's kind of back and forth, and they almost meet each other coming and going, you know. Okay, a couple more. All right, then the last, so we've got 2 folds in, then we have 3 folds. We're trying to reduce that 8-inch width to like about 3 inches. Then our bottom fold is also going to the inside, from the outside to the inside. And we do that so that it softens the edge, so there's not like a sharp folded edge close to the skin. It also, if you were breathing into this for a long time and moisture were building up, it would act as kind of a drip catcher if things were condensing. Okay, so that's our folded piece of Tyvek. And then, like I said, I put it in here so that they all stay clean. I usually cut several, fold several before I move to the sewing machine. One thing I want to say before we're done here, especially to you sewers. So you folded the Tyvek, and some of you may be inclined to press it with an iron. It will melt if you press it with an iron, so don't touch Tyvek with an iron, okay? Okay, so here we are at the machine. We're just going to sew the edges closed just on the very edge of the Tyvek. Because it's papery and kind of slick, it doesn't necessarily feed great through with your feed dogs, but it's also nice and slippery, so you can just kind of push it through. Okay, so we'll turn those around and sew both sides, but I'm only going to show you one side. So all you need is fabric strips. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Okay, you can use, and they don't need to be a certain width. Don't stress yourself by trying to measure something exactly. I would suggest you just take a straight edge and flop it on fabric and go zoom, zoom, you know, either mark it or use your rotary cutter to do it or whatever, but you want to end up with a piece of fabric roughly that wide, okay? And I've got, you know, 2 for both sides of the masks. Then take it to the ironing board and press it. I tried doing it without pressing it, and yeah, that works, but especially if you're a little less confident in your seamstressing, pressing it just helps. So just what we're doing is we're pressing both raw edges into the middle. So here's one pressed edge, and then here's two pressed edges, okay? And then we fold it together and press it one more time like that. Before you start sewing, just divide it in half, not exactly, but just eyeball it. Put a pin in there because you want to remember where the middle is. I've already zigzagged some of this, so I will start in the middle here. But the reason you want the pin in is because as you get toward the middle, that pin's going to remind you to stop. Then we're going to take out a mask that we've already sewn both edges on, and we're going to insert it between the two folds. So we're going to slide it in here. And I use a zigzag stitch here to attach the masks and to close the raw edges together. Okay. So zigzag, actually I like mine just a little smaller. Zigzag that mask in. And then finish the strip. I'm not going to do that right now. Then you'll turn it around and attach the other mask. And there you have a finished mask. Because I just want to show you one trick. Nobody's going to be blown away by how smart this is. But if you're not a sewer, if you haven't sewn a lot, then maybe you will think it's pretty cool. When you're doing strips, kind of line them up and have them follow one right after the other. And then, that may not look harder than it should be. And then you don't have lots of long thread that you're wasting. Long threads that you're having to clip and wasted thread if you trail them like that. So here is our finished mask as far as sewing goes. Now we need to add the little bridge over the noses. To do that, we unfold at the top where there were two folds down, remember? We're going to squeeze a little dab of silicone caulking right into the crack of in the middle there. The purpose of the caulking is just to keep the metal from sliding back and forth in that channel. Here's the little nose bridge we've made, and we're gonna slide that in. Slide that in right there with the caulking. Fold it over and fold it again. And there we have it, right there. You're giving it to someone else and they don't understand everything that you do about it. So right across the nose bridge, we write the word top. And right down here at the bottom, we write this side out, so that they know how to wear it. And then fold it in thirds, because we don't want to fold the metal for the nose more than we have to. And wrap the ties around very loosely. Put it in a baggie to keep it clean and to keep them separate and to keep the ties from tangling up on each other. Here is a screenshot of a note that we put in the baggie with the folded mask to explain a little bit about the Tyvek and about the care of the mask. Hopefully you can have enough time to read it. I don't know if you can screenshot it and make a copy, but then we, we have it smaller, 3 on a page, cut those up and put them in the baggies with the masks.